All right, let's dive into Salt Lake City. What did you guys have for your highlights here?
I need to talk about Mary and Robert Jr. I have a lot of thoughts about that interaction on the couch in her home where she's discovering or trying to discover if in fact her son is married.
Yeah.
And it was this is such a funny scene to come in as an outsider because what's weird is I don't think I actually have any less information than anybody else does in that moment. But when she was saying, "Are you married?" and his response is, "Kinda," I thought, "What do you mean? God, that's a horrible." I thought someone needs to smack the smile off his little millennial face because it's just such a young adult way of speaking. And I thought, answer the question. But it's just wild to me that they could live in the same house. They must have enough of a relationship that they share a home together, but not enough that at one point in the past year, he couldn't disclose that he and his live-in girlfriend had gotten married.
Yeah, it's like not only is he kind of married, he's kind of married for, I don't know, about a year.
Yes.
What? How is this? How are you talking about this? Like, it's just the most meaningless information. The most, it's so insane.
Yeah, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
Like, we had Chipotle for dinner last night.
I
Yeah.
know. I don't understand. Like, where's Mary been for the last year that she doesn't realize that these two are together? I know she's heard rumors because a couple of episodes, prior to this episode, I think she had mentioned like, "Oh, I heard that Robert might be married, and so I'm going to need to talk to him about it." It's like, where have you been, Mary?
Put it on
She's
the
like,
to-do list. At
Yeah,
the
exactly.
bottom.
Get around to asking your son if he's married.
And if that were me, I would have, whatever I was doing, dropped everything and raced home and pounded on their door. "Excuse me, are you married?" Because that seems like pertinent information.
Because it seemed implied that the girlfriend/wife lives there at their home,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, she saw them running at full speed down the hall.
I don't get it. And I need to know why. Why did you have a secret wedding? Why?
That's a good question because Mary is different.
It must have something to do with like the church. Maybe she does not go to their because she's like a cult leader, right?
Yeah.
And so maybe she lives like outside of the cult, and you don't want to let your parents know that this girl you're seeing might be deprogramming you from being brainwashed in the cult. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's so wild to me. It's so
But I
wild
guess
to
they
me.
can kind of like coexist fairly separately because Mary's house is huge. We got that scene when like Meredith shows up, and it like they go into like a walk and talk like it was an Aaron Sorkin production. Like it felt like I was watching the West Wing as they're going through
My
this
all-time
long
favorite show.
conversation.
I love that reference. And she does make a comment to Meredith. She's like, "Well, we live in different wings." And I thought, "Oh, well, must be nice." As we record from my kitchen here. All right.
Yeah. What other highlights did you have?
Well, the Whitney, I'm saving the best for last, okay? But I kind of wanted to talk about Whitney's meal with Justin, who I assume is her husband.
Yes.
Mhm.
And it looked like lunch, but they were eating like dinner. Like it was bright outside, but they're having a filet. I'm like, is this lunch? Is this dinner? I got really hung up on that. But
You didn't get hung up on the amount of food that was brought to the table.
well, I was surprised that they ordered a full meal, like a housewife ordering a filet plus. I was impressed.
Well, that's my favorite part on Housewives or any of these Bravo shows is like we hear their orders always.
Yeah.
And they brought so much more food to the table than they ordered, I thought. It just was so random to me.
Yeah. It was almost like they were about to like shoot a commercial for this restaurant. They needed to have like everything on
Yeah.
the menu.
That's what I was wondering if the restaurant was like just trying to get as much on camera as they
Yeah.
could. just
Totally.
to try to milk their
Look at
screen
our
time.
beautiful plating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this scene I had some deep thoughts on. First of all, apparently Justin's gone back to work, and in that moment I was like, was he not working before? Like, was he just a
He got
house
fired.
husband?
He
Oh,
got fired, yeah.
okay.
And then he had a 1 year like non-compete clause, so he couldn't work for a year or something.
Oh, so he
apparently.
couldn't go back to work. So
That's yeah.
she's complaining, like, you know, he's like, I went to work, and she's like, yeah, and I did everything else.
Yeah.
And they were having this, she's like, you don't help. And he's like, well, you don't have sex with me. And I thought,
Yikes.
early in my marriage, someone gave my husband and I the book His Needs, Her Needs. And ultimately, like, the whole point of the book is like, if your needs aren't being met, you're not going to be willing to meet your partner's needs. And you can get locked in this like dance and like, well, I'm not going to do anything for you if you're not. And at some point, something's got to give. And the whole premise of the book was like, well, if you don't meet your husband's needs, he's going to cheat. Like, I'm not recommending this book. But it did stick with me. And I totally was in this moment. I'm like, oh, they're deadlocked. Like, something's got to give.
Yeah.
Someone's got to be the first.
Well, the background I read on Justin is he's like a direct sales president.
Yeah. It's like a
Right?
multi-level marketing thing. Yeah.
Exactly. For a company called Awaken, which is like it's supposed to like it's health and wellness and wealth.
Yeah.
He's a scammer.
Nice combo.
Let's just say it. He's a scammer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Health and wellness, heavy quotation marks.
Right. So it's kind of funny, but I thought, are these two headed for next season's like vow renewal episode?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Which is a kind of a kiss of death in the
Yeah.
housewife world, but I thought, ooh, we have some, tension between these two. Could they possibly renew things next year because they're stronger and better, and then
I think that would be compelling television. Whitney is one of my favorite housewives on this franchise, and I think she's only kind of tapped like a quarter of her power. So seeing her kind of be unshackled by the burdens of Justin would be very compelling to me. But yeah, this scene was like, I thought it was really, I thought that Whitney did a great job of kind of communicating with Justin on this. And I kind of love seeing guys like Justin on these shows because it really sets a very low bar for me as a husband. The idea that he's just sitting there watching TV, scrolling on his phone while she is getting the kids ready and getting out the door and cleaning dog shit off the carpet or whatever it was that she said. It's just like so mind-blowing to me that you would have a dynamic where you don't try to carry that load when you see a partner that is kind of juggling a bunch of things. But it seemed like she was doing a great job of communicating, and for that to be just met with, well, I don't want to be the one that always initiates sex is just like such
it's like how I'm always the one who initiates sex. Is it like that? Is it really like that? Or were you just looking for any opportunity to say that?
Yeah. Well, but it was like I have nothing else to say here, so I got to throw something back at you.
Did you guys have any other highlights from this episode?
I mean, it's got to be the party with its dual conflicts at the end there.
Yeah. This is the Greek Easter party, which I was not able to ascertain what makes Greek Easter different from,
it falls on a different day. I do know that.
Okay, sure.
My husband's Armenian, and like the Greek and Armenian communities are very similar. And there was some other tie in here to that I cannot. Oh, the money dance when they they did that at my wedding, to Armenian
like
dancing.
This?
Oh, 100%. It's on video. And one of my husband's friends is like, it's like a Jay-Z video in here.
Oh,
It just made me laugh that they were doing it at this like Easter celebration. And it's a whole thing. So anyway, I have lots of thoughts on these arguments.
Okay, so how should we do? It was a hard scene to watch because it was like intercut between like Heather and Lisa's conversation and then Monica and Angie's conversation. So, but I think both are important to talk about.
Yeah.
So let's talk with, can we cover Heather and Lisa first?
For sure. Yep.
So I think Heather needs to stand down because Jack going on his mission has nothing to do with Heather. She should not have an opinion on it. And I felt for Lisa and thought she had an appropriate response to Heather. She was like, I'm just trying to support my son.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that doesn't work with, your bad Mormon narrative right now. So I felt really bad for Lisa, but like Heather, it's none of her business, right?
Well, and I think it supports her position as this bad Mormon who's like left the church and is now, I'm so accepting and like I'm so excited for the bigger, wider world. Well, you also need to be accepting of this choice, right? You're supporting your friend and her son going on the mission doesn't mean like I believe in everything you're saying. It means like I'm your friend. I'm going to be here for you. Your son's leaving for 2 years. That's a hard thing for a mom. It's a hard thing for a kid who knows where he's going to end up somewhere in the world. That's all you need to do here. You don't need to be like, I don't believe in this and you shouldn't either.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And I think like Heather she's got her own like stuff that she still needs to process from leaving the church, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think part of that is just realizing that, missionaries aren't as like, they're not as effective as she seems to think they are. Like how many doors is he going to knock on, and how many people is he actually legitimately going to convert, and balance that against, what your supposed friend is going to be going through by, not being able to see their child for 2 years.
It's a numbers game, right? It's like telemarketing. You like, even if it's just like one hit per 100, it's like still enough that it's going to be worthwhile for the organization. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, true.
I do have a little bit more sympathy, I think, for Heather's position than you guys do, just because I do think that, she's being like trying to sell her book narrative too. I get that, but I think she is being a little principled too, in the sense like she had a conversation with Whitney, I think, in the previous episode where she was like, we agree the church is bad. We agree that it's homophobic, that it's misogynist, and things like that. So like, why can't other people stand on principle and say, I'm just not going to support it, because it's like, the principle of not supporting an institution that we agree causes a lot of harm is kind of more important than just like being a good friend and being easygoing and everything's fine because we're buddies or whatever. I think there is something to be said for like having the more principled position of being like, okay, there are bad organizations, I won't support them.
Yeah, I think that's fair if she was more like broadly attacking this idea of people going on missions, but it's very selectively directed at Lisa and Jack. Like I don't know. I haven't,
but
I've read
I don't
about
think she's
as much
going out and saying like, fuck you, Jack, I hate you, or anything, right? She's just like not wanting to be one of the people who's like, oh, that's so great, I'm so happy for you.
Yeah.
Well, and she's like, how come you haven't read my book, Lisa? Like, why won't you read my book?
Lisa hasn't even read the Book of Mormon. She's not going to read Bad Mormon first.
The Book of Bad Mormon, yeah.
Wendy had an interesting take on why Heather might be clashing with Lisa.
Do you think it's possible that Heather is jealous of Lisa's relationship with the church? It's wildly different than Heather. Lisa drinks, she owns a liquor company. Like, how is that accepted in the church? I just think Heather is struggling with that.
Sure, yeah, like Lisa gets to have like the best of both worlds, right? Because I don't know Heather's entire story, but I do think there's part of her that accepts like there are positive parts of the church, like the community piece. But so she had to leave that behind in order to be her own person, and Lisa hasn't had to do that.
Yeah. So I think jealousy is one way to look at it. And I think another way is that Heather still has this conflict within herself, because I think she's such like a rules-based person. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that she grew up her whole life basing her personality around being the one who can follow the rules to being a Mormon better than everybody else can follow the rules to being a Mormon. And now that she's decided she wants to break from it, she wants to be strict about following the rules to not being a Mormon. And I think she has trouble with people who are less rules-based than her and are more like, yeah, I do a bit of this and a bit of that, when her personality is like very invested in like following a code.
Yeah, that's
I get that.
A good
I'm
point.
a rules person.
How do you guys feel about the church being almost like a housewife on this show?
Best things about the show, I think.
Yeah,
right. Like,
it's just so interesting.
It's so interesting from like especially an outsider perspective. Like, I don't know anything about the Mormon church. So it's so weird to see like, and interesting to see these people like have these like struggles, these really internal struggles. So I find it one of the most interesting parts
settings?
of the housewife franchises, because none of them have anything like this.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think is very interesting about that is the fact that when you watch any sort of other media or art that kind of focuses on the Mormon faith, it is very focused on like the text and the ritual of it all, and the church as an entity. Whereas this is one of the unique shows that I feel like you kind of explore Mormonism, if that's how is it Mormonism?
I think so.
Yeah.
You could say that.
Where you get a sense of like it as a culture, and the sort of the culture and the community around it. I don't know. I enjoy seeing those insights because we've talked in the past about how the geographic culture of these shows really plays a part, and I think that maybe only New Jersey comes close to that being as true a statement as on Salt Lake City.
Agree. You want to talk about Monica and her mom?
Oh yeah,
yeah, Linda.
LD, Craig.
LD. We went back and forth about this because I didn't know the Monica backstory, but Wendy's perspective is like Monica was the messenger, and it's kind of like the messenger's getting shot in this moment.
Yes, right. Because correct me if I'm wrong. Meredith is the one who started the rumors about Angie's husband, right? Or is spreading the rumors.
Not
about
according
Angie's
to Meredith, but according to other people. Yeah.
But Meredith doesn't seem to understand what it is to spread a rumor. She's like, I'm not spreading rumors. I'm just talking about the people that are spreading rumors. That's the same thing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if we actually caught Meredith saying anything specifically, like we didn't get her uttering the exact text of the rumor.
Yeah,
but just
we had her saying
that there were rumors.
If you want me to talk about her husband, because I'll fucking go there.
Yeah.
But I don't think we actually heard her talking about her husband.
And
honestly, I think she did.
I love
the
Meredith impression.
I had to show Megan that clip this morning. I was like, wait, you need the backstory on this. You gotta watch this.
I know we need to talk about Monica, but I also love Meredith in that moment where she gives her own, basically like, I have gay friends, so obviously I couldn't be spreading a rumor about someone being gay. And I was like, oh, this is not the flex you think it is. Like, I'm going to the GLAAD Awards.
Yeah.
So is Angie pissed at Monica because Monica went to Angie and said, there are rumors being talked about you?
I guess so.
I think my personal take on it was that it is a more like strategic move. Like I feel like she's attacking Monica because Monica has the least social currency out of all the other housewives. The other ones have seasons under their belt. She can Whitney basically set Monica up to be someone that could take the fall for putting this out there. And, Angie's kind of taking the bait. It's the easy way out for her.
Yeah, what I think that Angie does have a reason to be mad at Monica, but the reason isn't the reason she's attacking her for. She should be mad at Monica because of what happened when they went on their trip to Palm Springs there, where Monica was supposed to be Angie's friend, just was like freezing out Angie and was totally sucking up to Meredith the whole time at Angie's expense. That's what Angie should be mad about. And maybe that is what she's mad about actually, but she's redirecting it to being like, oh, you're the one spreading rumors, which doesn't make sense because like Monica was the one who got goaded by Whitney into participating into going to Angie and saying you should know that people are spreading rumors. But Angie's like, oh, if you're concerned about me, you should just take me aside and tell me that people are saying things. That's what she did. That's exactly what she fucking did. Like she seems to be using this as an excuse to get mad at Monica. I don't think it's the real reason. Kind of like Craig said.
Very Christ-like of her.
Yeah.
Well, Monica in this scene gives me real Kelly Dodd vibes. Like she's like a dog with a bone and she can't let it go. And, when she's like, you tell her to be quiet. I was like, oh, Kelly Dodd is in the house right now. I am torn. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm torn about LD's response because on the one hand, at the end, Monica's like, I just want a mom who supports me. But Wendy and I mean, we're parents of teenagers and like I support my kids, but I don't encourage them when they're acting like jerks. I'm not standing behind them like, yeah. I'd be like, and granted, my kids are still children, they're minors, but I don't necessarily think she was fully in the wrong telling Monica to stand down a little bit here.
Yeah, have you seen the backlash against LD online?
Yeah, I have. And actually, like, it kind of, I was on Monica's side a bit here. Like, for one, I feel like Monica gets a little bit of leeway because it is a reality TV show. Like, this is exactly the place that she
That's
should
what
be
you're
having
supposed
this
to
fight,
do.
as
Sure.
opposed to.
It's the job
but
description.
I thought that, like, Linda, I didn't really like the way that she carried herself. I got a comparison to another housewife, and actually, She Speaks Bravo, which is an Instagram account and YouTube channel that I watch. She's really good, Emily Hanks. She said that Linda reminds her of Ramona Singer from New York, and immediately, like, I was like, that is who she reminds me of. Like, that is 100% who I get from that, just being very, like, self-centered and unaware, and the way that she kind of navigated this situation really felt like Ramona navigating things, which, great housewife. I probably wouldn't want Ramona as a mother figure, though.
Personally, I'm totally on Monica's side. Honestly, I haven't read the backlash either. I try to stay out of that if I can, but I feel like it's just like it's like the worst nightmare growing up example of like having your mom stay with you during your sleepover and just like really piss you off. I think the thing about Monica and her mom's relationship on the show, which we've seen a lot of, is that Monica seems to be really coming from the perspective of like, okay, this is going to be a chance for us to do therapy about all my childhood trauma on TV. And Monica's mom's perspective is like, this is a chance for me to be on TV.
Right. Right.
And show everybody what a good mom I am. Like, this is what I expect of my children. Look what I've raised.
Yeah, from the moment she shows up at the party and says, I'm LD, to the moment where she like sits down with the guys and is like, oh, I'm going to sit with the guys now. Do any of you guys play college ball? It was just clear that she was just like so ready to just be like, I'm gonna be on camera, I'm gonna be like a star here. And I just thought that was really at the expense of her daughter, because yes, I do think like Monica was dialing it up pretty hard, and I get the perspective that like, oh, you're in somebody else's house, you shouldn't attack them too hard. Angie did kind of start it though, and again, it's a housewife show, that's what you do on these shows. And I do think that I don't think that that Monica's mom had to be like, yeah, go, I'm in your corner, I'm your coach, Rocky, just go get them. But I don't think she had to like just keep saying over and over again, come with me to the bathroom, and then being like, oh, I'm so sorry, to Angie, and just like apologizing profusely for her daughter who's really upset right now. I just think she could have been a little more understanding of her daughter's perspective, because that's your fucking daughter. And I did feel bad for little Monica when she had when it like obviously opened up more wounds for her, because she clearly has so many wounds from her relationship with her mom that she's like trying to find some way to navigate, and is trying to do that on TV. And it's just obviously just a very vulnerable situation, but I did feel bad for Monica more than anything else.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, I had a really volatile relationship with my mother. I don't think I'd ever be like, you know what? Let's go on a reality TV show. We're going to work it out.
Yeah.
Like, no, never, ever.
Yeah, and I think Linda missed an opportunity to stand down. I can understand the like, hey, maybe we calm down. And then that needed to be it, because Monica wasn't having it.
Yeah, exactly. Once it's clear Monica's not going to go have talk with you in the bathroom or whatever.
Yeah, you're escalating the situation.
Then stop trying to make yourself the center of it, and stop trying to constantly hang around while she's trying to discuss with somebody else.
Mm-hmm. And asking the host's father if he's single. And
everything beyond that first attempt to like say, just calmed down. Everything beyond that, it felt like it was a show for the camera.
It was a show. It was
from
so
Linda.
performative.
And the way that she like lit up when she got called fun at one point later on in the party, it was like, okay, this lady is really looking for validation in front of the camera, like not just trying to be there for her daughter or to build some bond, or the motives are purely like self-centered.
I that's my perspective, basically.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I thought the ending note for this show was amazing. How they cut this together with the confessional of Monica saying, "I wish I had a different mom," and then people being like, "I feel so bad for her mom." Just posing that as a question to the audience. I just thought that was a really powerful way to end this show.
Yeah, me too.
Kind of sad. It was sad, right? I felt bad. I felt bad
totally.
for her. Yeah.
Did you guys have any other thoughts on Salt Lake City?
Other than I would like to go to the WIC lab, and Mary's lunch spread when Meredith came over, it was truly impressive for two women who were going to stand at the counter and talk together for 10 minutes. I was a giant charcuterie board. I was like, oh, look at you. I mean, I know that's like a staple of the housewife world. I just thought, if that were me, it would not look like that.
Dylan, what are your highlights here?
The intro with the Easter Bunny. Great work by everybody involved.
In Heather's car.
In Heather's car, yeah. Unfortunately, we had that moment kind of spoiled because they kept showing it in like teasers. But just a great collection of little clips of people being creeped out by an Easter Bunny. Love the fact that when the Easter Bunny shows up, he gets a little chyron. He has a little name tag that says Easter Bunny on screen. Just great work by the editors. Great work by setting them up. The little bit where Mary like rolls down her window with the most awkward smile on her face is brilliant. Wonderful montage right there. That's basically it. Otherwise, we basically covered the ground.
Yeah, I think we covered most of what I wanted to talk about as well. The only other note I had here was like Father John looked like he was rented from Party City. Like he did not seem authentic at all. I don't know where they got this guy from, but he looked like he was like from an SNL sketch or something. And then Angie's long-winded story about Christ, where she's really like talking about herself, I thought was just so hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah, great work.
For me, that was very reminiscent of Vicki Gunvalson did it in Orange County too at one point years and years ago. I don't know how long you guys watched these shows, but like was she baptized or was
Tamara was baptized?
Tamara was baptized.
Tamara was, yeah.
She was talking about like, I don't remember. It was very similar though, but very funny.
Yeah. I feel like Angie is doing a great job just coming and like making the most out of every moment that she gets. Really, really driving home that message that she is in fact Greek. And